Hello, hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to Fallout 76 for some more legendary crafting. Today, we're gonna roll the dice. We're gonna go high stakes. I've got one suppressed radium rifle, and it has a 1-star bloodied effect on it. So it's already half decent, but I'd really like to improve it. Despite my best efforts, crafting and scrapping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of radium rifles, I still can't craft a suppressor mod, and I know I've seen folks mention it in the comments that they're willing to do it for me, and I appreciate that, but time and scheduling, it makes things like that difficult. So the plan for today is to roll radium rifles with 3-star effects, see if we get something good. If I get something really good, then I'll stop re-rolling that weapon and I'll switch over to fixers. If I don't, well, then I guess we're going to roll 10 radium rifles and I'm going to end up with a crappy radium rifle. We'll have to see what happens. Before we get into it, remember, if you like videos like this and you want to see more, do go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, follow me on Twitter. There's always a lot more to come on the channel, but without further ado, let's test our luck. So here it is, the infamous 1-star bloodied radium rifle. You can see here it's got a suppressor on it, but it's grayed out for me. I can't craft another one. So no choice there but to go ahead and stick with this one. These do drop with suppressors from some enemies, particularly fog crawlers, but it's still a pretty rare drop, and I've tried to get more and it's just not happening. I've got enough legendary modules here for 10 3-star rolls, so hopefully we don't have to burn through 10 on this one to improve it. My roll here that I get that I'll be happy with, it doesn't have to be bloodied. It could just be a good combination of things, as long as those things in total equal out to a better overall weapon than this, I'll generally be happy. But time will tell. Let's go ahead and try our first one, and we've got a quad. That's awesome. With the last shot effect, that sucks, and 15% faster reload. So I love the quad effect. If this was quad with faster fire rate or VATS hit chance, then honestly we'd be done right now. That would be a pair of effects that are really, really tough to beat. The 3rd star being 15% faster reload, not a bad thing to have, but this isn't a super slow reload weapon to begin with, so not that worried about that. So really the only thing I like here is quad. The last shot effect totally sucks, especially on a commando weapon. You're never emptying your magazine in a commando weapon anyway. You're doing tactical reloads along the way, so it's pretty rare that you're actually even going to fire that last shot. And only 1 in 4 of them has a chance to deal double damage. That's worthless. So we're going to try again. Let's see what we've got this time. Now we've got mutants with VATS hit chance and perception. So here we kind of have the opposite problem. I really like VATS hit chance. It's one of my favorite effects. It's not just about VATS accuracy, it makes it easier to target enemy weak spots, and that gives you extra damage, so it's very, very useful. Extra perception is good for VATS accuracy, so our 2nd and 3rd stars are fine, but the 1st star is mutants, and it only maxes out at a 25% bonus, so let's keep trying. Now we've got pretty much a piece of junk. You've got juggernauts with bashing damage and less VATS AP cost. In my opinion, the only thing good here is less VATS AP cost. That's a nice star to have, especially for a VATS user like me. Unfortunately, the Juggernauts effect isn't worthwhile. I usually run a low health build to begin with, so certainly not going to change that so that I can go full health and only get a 25% damage bonus. What's the point of that? I can go low health with Adrenal Reaction and no legendary effect and get a 50% buff. So why would I want to use Juggernauts over that? Makes no sense. And of course, bashing damage is 100% worthless on this weapon. And now we've got suppressors with bashing damage and faster movement speed while aiming. For my purposes, this is essentially now a non-legendary weapon. The suppressor's effect reduces our target's damage output by 25% for 5 seconds. It's not that I dislike the suppressor's effect. I think it's a good idea. I think it works fine. I just think there aren't very many scenarios in Fallout 76 where it's particularly useful. Most enemies in the game are not dealing high amounts of damage to players, so you're not getting a whole lot out of that. Bashing damage, of course, just like on the last one, totally worthless on a weapon like this, and faster movement speed while aiming, Cool idea, but you max out your movement speed if you have the Speed Demon mutation, if you're carrying a fixer where you're, moving faster while you're sneaking. Things like that are just going to totally offset this. So there's really nothing here, which is it's pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing. We're almost halfway through here, and yeah, not going so hot. Let's try again. And now we've got a Junkies Radium Rifle with less VATS AP cost and limb damage. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is actually a pretty good roll. The Junkies effect is still very, very solid. Gives you a 50% damage buff if you have 5 addictions. So it's right up there with any number of other effects in terms of popularity and usability. Limb damage, not my favorite second star on a ranged weapon. I don't think you really get a whole lot out of that. But it's not terrible. It's certainly better than Last Shot. And 25% less VATS AP cost is awesome for a VATS user like me. Unfortunately, I don't run a Junkies build. And even with multiple special slots now, you can't, it's not like you can slot in addictions in one special slot and then take them off. So it's just not something I'm going to use. Now, normally, if I roll something like this, I would take this and put it in my vending machine. I'm sure somebody would appreciate it. But I don't have that luxury here. I have no choice. I have to re-roll the effects and hope for something that's more suitable for me. Let's try again, and we have a winner. We've got Bloodied with VATS hit chance and 90% reduced weight. So, yeah, the Todd has smiled upon us today. We only needed 6 rolls, and we definitely improved this one. So Bloodied was certainly my ideal primary effect. I run a low health build, so being bloodied on this weapon makes a ton of sense. VATS hit chance is my favorite of the secondary effects. Maybe faster fire rate comes close, maybe explosive on the right weapon, but to me, VATS hit chance is one of those kind of quiet secondary effects that really is very, very useful, but often gets overlooked. 90% reduced weight. I love the idea of that effect. I wish it worked better. We can see from the weight on here with the mods on this weapon, it's still over 13 pounds, so 90% reduced weight is a lie, but it's still some weight reduction, so I'll take what I can get there. I'd certainly rather see reduced VATS AP cost, but if I don't have that option, then okay, 90% reduced weight doesn't hurt. But as far as our primary and secondary stars, those are pretty much perfect for me. I can't really imagine that we're going to get something better than this. So I think at this point, it's time to say we improved the weapon. We had success. Let's switch to fixers. So I've got 3 different fixers here, and I'm out of materials to craft new ones, so we're going to use these. I've got 2 Furious with damage while aiming fixers that are very similar to each other. Furious doesn't really work for me. Damage while aiming doesn't really work for this VATS build. So we have 2 of those that we can re-roll. And then I also have a 2-star Vampires fixer. It's got Vampires and bashing damage. I have a pretty decent Vampires handmade that I usually break out when I want a Vampires commando weapon. So I'd love to see a Vampires fixer with explosive or faster fire rate. Any one of those would be good. So we're going to try again here. We're going to re-roll these weapons. I promised high stakes legendary crafting today, so we're going to go high stakes legendary crafting, and we're going to re-roll some of these effects on what are really pretty good weapons. They just don't suit me. So I might as well re-roll these effects because, you know, the alternative would be going all the way to a train station, picking up some adhesive and crafting some blank ones, and that's entirely too much work. So let's see what we've got. We start out, wow, okay, we start out with a Bloodied, with bashing damage and damage resistance while aiming. So the Bloodied effect, of course, is still the king of the mountain when it comes to damage. It's a great roll. If you get a Bloodied fixer, I don't really care what the other stars are on it. It's a pretty good weapon. Unfortunately, in this case, it's bashing damage, which is useless, and damage resistance while aiming, which for my VATS character is giving me nothing. So for me, for all intents and purposes, this is a 1-star Bloodied fixer. But it's still a bloodied fixer. So let's roll one of the other ones and try and improve that before we re-roll this one. Let's jump down to the other Furious and see if we can get something good here. And we've got, okay, luck is turning my way here. We've got Aristocrats with explosive and faster movement speed while aiming. So Aristocrats is a 50% damage bonus if you are over 29,000 caps. For many high-level players, that is not a hard thing to achieve. Many of us are well over 29,000 caps on a regular basis, so that's fairly easy to do, and to get a 50% damage bonus out of it makes that one of the more desirable full health primary effects. Adding explosive to that makes it even better. Explosive is probably still the most desirable secondary effect. While it's not necessarily my personal favorite, it's very, very good. Faster movement speed while aiming, of course, isn't very useful, but I digress. So now, what do? I can still roll 2 more. I've got my Vampire's bashing damage fixer. I'm thinking let's go ahead and re-roll this one, because the bloodied one is pretty good. So if I have to do 2 rolls here, at least I can take the bloodied one, stick it in my vending machine, and maybe make somebody's day. So let's go ahead and try this one. And, well, that's pretty good. We've got anti-armor with bashing damage and 90% reduced weight. So anti-armor, excellent effect on commando weapons. They do pretty solid per shot damage, but it's not in the multiple hundreds of damage points, so you're definitely getting a good bit of mileage out of the anti-armor effect there. Bashing damage, of course, here is useless, as always. 90% reduced weight helps. Doesn't hurt to have it. It's also a lie. 11 pounds with the mods on here. It's not 90% reduced weight. So it's a weight reduction. Makes me happy. It's good, but it's not great. So the question now is, which one do I re-roll? The anti-armor with no great 2nd or 3rd stars, or the bloodied with no great 2nd or 3rd stars? Bloodied will probably sell in my vendor, so let's re-roll this one. And sadly, we did not really improve it. Well, maybe we did. I don't know. So we've got Mutant Slayers, which is 50% damage to super mutants. VATS critical hits do 50% more damage. That's very good. And our hits have a chance to generate a stealth field. So that synergizes well with the concept of the fixer. If you're a stealth build, then anything that adds to your stealthiness is good. VATS critical hits doing more damage, for me, being a VATS build, that's also pretty good. And then we get 50% more damage to super mutants. And while that is not one of the most desirable effects we could get our hands on, killing super mutants is a thing I do an awful lot of. Grinding West Tech for XP, things like that. So this could make you quite the ghost running through those areas. So it could be kind of a useful weapon, even though it's not probably as desirable as some of the other ones. So, did I get a Vampire's Explosive or Vampire's Fire Rate fixer out of the deal? No, but I did get an Aristocrat's Explosive fixer, and that's pretty damn cool. So, yeah, definitely an improvement. We didn't do bad there. Once I mod that thing up, it's going to be looking pretty good. So, I am liking that. Yes, I am. So, we got a great radium rifle. We got a really great fixer out of the deal. We did pretty well today. That bloodied VATS hit chance radium rifle is kind of perfect. I'm not really sure what else I would want out of that weapon. So yeah, that's really great. I mean, maybe faster fire rate could potentially be a little better, but I'm pretty pleased with that. So I think that's going to do it for today. I do hope you've enjoyed this trip to the legendary crafting bench at Mama Mumble's discount den of disappointment. And if you did, please go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, follow me on Twitter. We've got streams every week, always new content coming on the channel, and I hope I see you all next time.